Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge and financial freedom. No, it's quite a bit earlier than I normally go live, but my work schedule has changed, so now I gotta push things back an hour. I know that's great for people like Jesse, and I'm sure we'll see a few more that are also not in the United States, but I appreciate you for showing up live, and I know several of you are just going to have to watch this as the recording. But I appreciate you for showing up this morning, Jesse, and everyone else that is just lurking for now. So I do have a few headlines. We all know what the news is. It's that 90-day tariff pause. So we will dive on into that one in a second, but let's get you prepped for some success today with that stock heat map, because we are seeing some sell-off in the pre-market. So let's swap over to that stock heat map, and as you can see, it's a sea of green. Crypto looks quite similar. We've got Apple sitting up 15.33 in the pre-market, seeing some sell-off, down 3.02 right now. We've got Nvidia up 18.72, sitting down at 3.8 in the pre-market. Got Berkshire Hathaway up 5.84%, sitting down 1.18 in the pre-market right now. We've got Amazon up a whopping 11.98%, sitting down 2.25 in the pre-market. We've got Eli Lilly sitting up 3.78, sitting down 1.02 in the pre-market so far. Got ExxonMobil sitting up 4.99, sitting down 2.13 in the pre-market so far. We got Tesla sitting up 22.69% in the pre-market, sitting down 3.65 right now. We've got P&G sitting up 2.48. in the pre-market, sitting down 0.59. We've got Microsoft is sitting up 10.13 in the pre-market, seeing a little bit of sell-off as well, down 1.41. We got Google up 9.88% in the pre-market, also seeing some sell-off, down 1.91. And we've got Meta up a whopping 14.76, sitting down in the pre-market 2.56 right now. For the crypto side of things, we are also extremely green. Let's scroll it on down, get into those percentages. We've got Bitcoin up 5.9, Ethereum up 8.4, XRP up a whopping 10% right now. We've got BNB up 3.5, Solana up 7.9, we got Doge up 7.1, Tron up 4.8, we've got Cardano up 9.7, Leo still remaining pretty stable as, it is that exchange token up 1.9. We've got Chainlink up 9.5. We've got Avalanche up 9.2. We got Ton, the one outlier right there, sitting down 1.9. We've got Stellar Lumens up 6%. HBAR up 13%. We've got Shiba Inu up 10.3. We've got Sui up 9.1. We've got Mantra up 7.8. And we've got Bitcoin Cash still remaining as that number 20 spot, up 8.9. Let's hop over to those fear and greeds, because we have been seeing a little bit of relief here. We've got the stock market still in extreme fear, but way better than it was just a few days ago when it was sitting at 3. We're now sitting at 16. For the crypto side of things, we are out of extreme fear as well. we are just sitting in fear, up 21 points. Definitely expected with this 90-day tariff pause to see a little bit of fear leaving the markets. But we'll kind of have to dive into that news article because it's just a pause. That doesn't mean that these tariffs won't still come into play. They might get adjusted though. We still do see these tariffs on China remaining, so that's also some downside pressure for the markets. We do have this 3-month liquidity heat map pulled up. As you can see, we kind of chipped away at some of the bottom side liquidity that was residing right below us. We still have quite a bit to the bottom side. We've got that real hot spot below us being that $72,000. We also have another very hot spot that we've been talking about on Piper Academy at $64,000. That's quite a big zone of about $100 million down there. You zoom this on in to that 1 month, we're looking pretty nice. We've got that top side liquidity still residing at just under 90,000. There's quite a bit of money there as well, about 100 million. We've also got that 1 week looking pretty bare. We've really cleared out a bunch of liquidity, and we now just have that liquidity right back above a key area I keep talking about for Bitcoin. That's that $85,000 mark. This one's at 85.3 for the Binance chart. I talk about 85,250. So key level to really watch for to see if we can get above and turn into some support. We're residing right above our CME gap right now, and we'll kind of see if we can hold that area. You can see the 3 days very bare on that liquidation heat map, and the 24-hour as well just has this nice hot spot to the top side at 83,561. Very easy grab, but we do have a lot of data coming out this morning. Before I dive into that economic calendar, let me say hello to the chat. We've got Jesse Gluck in here as always. Good morning, good morning. I appreciate you sharing out that link. It is definitely an early stream. Have to go out early. Have to go live an hour earlier because I've got an hour drive to get to work now. So they sprung that schedule change on me very last minute. We got Jay Violet in the chat. We got Froth Dog Billionaire saying good morning, legends. Good morning to you, sir. I see Jay Quick Smoker in the chat as well. Evening from Australia. Hope you all are having a great morning so far, or a great evening, or a great day, wherever you may be residing. Let's hop over to that economic calendar because we do have some data that is going to be dropping today. That's going to be some core inflation data at 8:30. We also have CPI as well, forecasted to be another increase on CPI, while our core inflation kind of negates each other on these data drops. We've got an increase on the month over month from 0.2 to 0.3%. So definitely a smidge in the wrong direction there, but we do have that decrease on year over year from 3.1% to 3%. If that comes out on par, kind of negates each other there, and we'd be looking at that CPI data. We also have a bit of a decrease on our non-core inflation on the forecast, from 0.2 to 0.1 for the month over month, and at 2.8 to 2.6 on the year over year. So might be heading in the right direction, looking for a little bit of a chance of a rate cut if all of this continues this way. This is definitely kind of what the Trump administration would like to see. We also see our initial jobless claims coming out this week. Forecast is an increase from 219,000 to 223,000. I'll be watching that data drop this morning because it's definitely a big market mover to go with that CPI. Scrolling on down just a little bit, we do have a few Feds speaking today. At 9:30 Eastern time, we have Fed Logan. Scroll that down a little bit more. We have Fed Gooby talking at noon. We also get some mortgage rates coming out this afternoon as well. That will be at noon Eastern time. Not a big market mover, but definitely something to keep your eye on. Scroll down just a little bit more. We got that Fed monthly budget statement looking like a bit of a decrease on that, which is kind of what you want to see. I'll touch on that in just a second. That secondary news article talks about the budget. So let's hop into this Bitcoin chart. As you can see, we are residing right above our old CME gap. I've talked about this price point for quite a while, needing to turn it into some support. That's 81,333 on the chart. Looking for us to potentially get another bounce and a topside sweep of some liquidity. We do have that hot spot at 85,300. This is basically that line I have drawn out. You can see we get a lot of play off of it on some candle bodies there. Scroll it on back, you also have that nice launch off of it at the beginning of the zone. So this is an area we will definitely need to get above and turn into some support on a higher term time frame, something like that 4-hour or that hourly chart. Looking for that move up and continuation from 81,300 this morning, as you do see your prime oscillator getting some nice curvature back to the upside. Looking at some light selling pressure right now as our money flow looks to be heading back to the green. You do see some light curvature on that. You've got your MACD looking to cross our indicator line here as we starting to print light red candles on our histogram. Looking for a bit of an upside move. You can kind of see what we did last time when we got a similar move here. Scroll it on back. There we go. We got those red histograms switching over to the green, and we got that MACD crossing to the upside. Got that nice push back to the 382. Kind of something I've been keeping my eye on, seeing if we can get above that 85,251, turn it into some support, and make that move back to the upside. We've still got a lot of liquidity residing at this $90,000 mark. Let's zoom this on in. Take a look at that 4-hour. As you can see here, that 4-hour does look a little bit toppy on this prime oscillator. You've got your volume switching to green as your money flow is remaining steady as some selling pressure here. Your prime oscillator is remaining green though, as we do get that bit of a rollover here. Your MACD still has plenty of room to run here. It is getting some light curvature for some more sideways movements here. So to see as a range in this area would be something to watch for, especially if that data comes out a little bit mixed. See some positives in the CPI, or that inflation data is extremely overwhelmingly positive, but your core is not. Something to kind of watch for the morning. Let's zoom this on in on that hourly look, and you can kind of see we are getting that light curvature on our MACD line, with that indicator line moving quite sideways together, printing some heavy red candles that are extremely small on this histogram right now. Getting some light curvature on our prime oscillator as well. Steady buying volume in this range. You know, not a bad price to pick up some Bitcoin at, and money flow is looking to remain steady on some selling pressure here. So bears and bulls doing a little bit of some battle at the top side of our old CME gap here. Zoom this on in to that 15-minute, and you do see that curvature back to the upside here. Got two divergences stacked up here as volume is staying very light on some selling volume, looking for money flow to make that push back up, as we're looking at that MACD cross here above the CME gap. We got that liquidity that resides right above us at that 83,600 area, which is the highs from here. So a nice liquidity sweep for the morning before we try to push up for that 1 week to 3-day liquidity at 85,251. We chucking some shorts on the Barbie, says Froth Dog Millionaire. Oh my goodness, speaking some Aussie language there. All right, let's hop over to this first news article for the morning. We got stocks and bonds still down in April as investors brace for volatility after Trump's tariff pause. I won't read the whole article. I'll just kind of dive into the key points here. We got policy uncertainty is not going away, says Bespoke Investment Group. U.S. stocks and bonds markets swung to gains Wednesday on President Donald Trump's pause on some tariffs from many countries, but a global trade war still has investors on edge. Today, the president appeared to surrender to the reality and reverse course on the most extreme reciprocal tariffs applied outside of China, Bespoke Investment Group said in a note. This sudden walk back of the tariffs is just more evidence that policy uncertainty, which has been driving markets, consumer sentiment, and business surveys since January, is not going away. While the S&P 500 surged after Trump said Wednesday afternoon that he was pausing some tariffs on many countries for 90 days, it ended the trading session down 2.8% so far in April. The iShares Core U.S. Aggregate Bond ETF AGG, which provides broad exposure to the U.S. investment bond market, has lost a total of 0.7% so far this month, according to FactSet data. Although President Donald Trump was able to resist the stock market sell-off once the bond market began to weaken too, it was only a matter of time before he folded his eye-watering high tariffs, said Paul Ashworth, chief North American economist at Capital Economics, in a note Wednesday. We'll kind of have to see how they reorganize some of these tariffs, because Trump wrote in a Wednesday afternoon post on his social media platform Truth Social that he was raising the tariff on China to 125% while authorizing a 90-day pause on levies on many countries that have not retaliated against the U.S. and have been in trade negotiations with the White House. I have authorized a 90-day pause and substantially lowered reciprocal tariffs during this period of 10%, also effective immediately, Trump wrote in the post. Our working assumption now will be that, cowed by the market response, Trump will repeatedly extend the pause, meaning that this will end up looking a lot like the 10% universal tariff he campaigned on, Ashworth said. In return, other countries will offer minor concessions on their own trade tariffs and trade practices, he said. As for the China-U.S. relations, it is difficult to see either side backing down in the next few days. You know, if you want to negotiate with countries, you don't do this from a position of weakness. You do this from a position of strength. And putting a little bit of a pause while that fear still resides there is kind of how you want to negotiate that. I see Crypto Princess in the chat. Good morning to you. I hope you're having a great day so far. I appreciate you showing up. I really like that live stream you did with Piper the other day. I'm looking forward to more of your live streams coming forward. Hope you do something regular like that and potentially get to, a daily schedule. You know, it'd be really nice to see making that debut in the crypto space. We also have another news article, which I think kind of ties into why you see President Trump also very eager to put a bit of a tariff pause on a bunch of these countries that are willing to negotiate, because he's got a lot to do at home. You do have GOP holdouts forced delay in vote on Trump budget plan. This is a big one. We've got Republican leaders postponed a vote on the blueprint for President Trump's one big, beautiful bill, throwing the GOP legislative agenda into temporary uncertainty as they try to find a path forward on tax cuts and spending. I'll just scroll a little bit further in here because I wanted to get to the meat and the potatoes of the article. We got lawmakers are considering several possible options. One, change the House rules to forbid an eventual tax and spending bill from violating the House tighter budget restrictions, which limit the size of tax cuts unless spending is also cut. That change would allow the budget to be finished Thursday, but a future House majority could change or waive that rule. The House could also amend the Senate budget or seek a House-Senate conference committee. Those options would be more binding than a House rule change, but it would take longer to execute and require the Senate to vote again. Republican leaders are regrouping as they try to find a path forward. The GOP lawmakers are largely united around extending expiring tax cuts, adding new tax cuts, and boosting spending for border security and national defense. But they were at odds over budget deficits and spending cuts. And Wednesday's delay vote might force them to confront the divides between the House and the Senate that have been sidestepped until now. Let's get into the next part. Here we go. The Senate's fiscal framework allows more than $5 trillion in tax cuts and locks in $4 billion in spending cuts. Senators say they are aiming for $2 trillion in spending cuts, but wanted to allow maximum flexibility. Trump posted on social media on Tuesday that he favors major spending cuts, hopefully over $1 trillion. The House version passed in February without a single vote to spare, allows $4 trillion in tax cuts, and requires $1.5 trillion in spending cuts, largely from the committee that handles Medicaid. The House tax cuts could get larger if spending cuts get larger. Those same spending cuts would imperil the Senate coalition because of members such as Senator Josh Hawley and Lisa Murkowski from Alaska are concerned about Medicaid. This will be our next big battle for President Trump, and I think this is kind of part of the reason that he wants to focus more at home right now, negotiate some of these things, give a little bit of breath to the market. This is just your continued manipulation of the market. Right before he announced these pause on tariffs, he tweeted out that now's a good time to buy DJT, which is his company, and you saw that move right to the upside shortly after he had tweeted that out. So more market manipulation. And, we did see World Liberty Financial also selling $150 million worth of Ethereum at a loss. So kind of just more market manipulation, negating some of those losses there. Tinfoil hat stuff. I see Jesse saying, anyone with some alt requests, drop them in the chat. Yeah, I'm not seeing any alt requests right now. So if anyone does have any alt requests, though, like Jesse said, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I will get to them in just a second. We have plenty to go over. They don't just have to be altcoins. They can be anything TradFi that you'd like me to look at as well. I've got some things that I had my eye on. We got Ernie saying, good morning in the chat. Good morning to you, Ernie. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Let's hop into this first thing that I always like to take a look at. It's some gold. Gold has been doing quite well, and it also saw that move up to our golden pocket on our fib extension. I did talk about that price point for a while, and once we saw that 90-day reprieve, gold really got that move back above our golden pocket and is looking to try to hold this key area down here, which is also in line with our 50% line on our Fibonacci extension as some support. We've got that price point being $3,086. You see the potential for some continued light sell-off on gold. It is making a last move back up towards that golden pocket there at $3,120, but you do see your MACD still getting that light curvature to the downside here. It is moving a little bit sideways under this indicator line here. You've got your money flow looking to roll over just a bit as your prime oscillator sits red and is going to the downside with a divergence stacked up on top of that. Money flow and volume looking a little bit green right now, but seeing a nice little rejection off of that golden pocket, a move down before a move up back to that platinum pocket would be something to keep your eye on. That platinum pocket is heavy resistance here. That's that all-time high on gold at $3,162. Something to keep your eye on for the day. You do have the Dixie still staying quite battered down as we've continued to see bonds sell off, looking for a bit of a trend to maintain here. We've got that trend line. Let me get that drawn out a little bit better. There we go. Off of those candle bodies, let's make that a little thinner. There we go. We're looking to try to maintain this as a potential bounce here. You have that hourly and your shorter term time frame looking a little bit oversold here. You have the money flow sitting in that light green as it is moving quite sideways. Prime oscillator sitting very red as that true 7 has just started clipping out here. So a potential bottoming point for the dollar here in this range. Let's zoom that on into the 15-minute. See what the morning is looking like. And this is where you see that nice curvature here on the MACD. Your prime oscillator has that reversal signal already, but it is continuing to see a little bit of some curvature here in the light red. So could see that switch of money flow here this morning as your true 7 has clipped out here, and then clipped out here all over again on the way down. So looking for that potential money flow to come back in on the dollar, especially after that 90-day pause. We'll kind of have to see how that plays out for the morning. Let's hop over to the S&P. You know, that was a big market mover. We finally closed the CME gap I brought up the other day. So let's make that background black so we know it's closed. We've got a little bit of selling pressure here on the hourly as you do see our first overbought signals starting to flash here on the prime oscillator, but you've got extremely nice money flow and money volume in this range. So looking to potentially hold the top side of the CME gap as some support here and push back up to the golden pocket. Seeing a nice little cool off would be something to watch for, as you have seen that pre-market getting a little bit of some sell-off, about 3%. So a nice little 3% move down on S&P from current price would put us basically right back into that midline of the CME gap there. So seeing if we can maintain this. If not, look back to the midline of that CME gap and then push back up to the upside. Would cool off that hourly chart quite a bit. Will really depend on how our money flow goes for the day. You do see a lot of money flowing back into the market. So if we continue to see that money flow pushing back in, we've got that CME gap to the top side of us. Let me get that drawn out so you can see that next target. And that's going to be right to the top side of us, which basically where we rejected from on that move up yesterday. Let's get that locked and then have that background filled in so you can know that it hasn't been filled yet. As you can see, we've got some nice areas to the top side. If we continue that move up, the top side target on that CME gap is $5,653. That'd be a very strong resistance area to watch for if we get back above that golden pocket. I see Joel Vasquez in the chat saying, dropping that order, and gang. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Getting that coffee in, getting prepped for the day. And I will definitely see you in that Alexo Crypto chat here in a couple hours, since I had pushed my start time back. I still do have that redirect to Crypto Billy's morning motivational video, but there will be a little bit of some lag time. So when I push you over there, go ahead, hit that like button for him, and let him know that the Piper Academy sent you over there. I see L Jones in the chat. I know you switched your name there, but I'm gonna call you L Jones because that's what I remember you as. I haven't seen you in here in quite a while. Hope you're having a good day so far, and hope you've been doing well. So it's nice to see you back in here. We've got Froth Dog Millionaire dropping Piper Otter Gang. Yes, most definitely. Let's drop some of that Piper and some of those otter emojis for you. Haven't seen any alt requests yet, so I know Jesse loves some ADA, so we'll definitely take a look at some ADA. If there's any other alt requests for me, I've got about 30 minutes, so go ahead, drop those in the chat. It doesn't have to just be an alt request. It can be any asset you'd like me to take a look at. We've got plenty of time to look at things. As we've talked about for ADA, we wanted to see us get above 62 cents after we got battered down a bit. Let's zoom this on out to that daily look. Zoom it on out quite a bit. As you can see, we held up one of those short-term levels. L Jones says, I hate to say it, but XRP. XRP got a strong move to the upside, so definitely not a bad project to take a look at. We've got that daily on ADA looking like it has the potential for a continued move to the upside. Your True 7 has clipped out twice now on the daily after we got this reversal signal, and we're now getting that strong curvature to the upside. Volume is slowing down on that selling volume, so really waiting for that green money flow to come in on a shorter time frame. If you do see that and that continued move to the upside, watch for that MACD cross and some continued slow down on those red candles on our histogram. Let's zoom this on in to that 4 hour and see what we're looking at there. We did talk about wanting to see us hold some of these levels in between this sideways range we had potentially watched for. Got that nice bounce to the upside off of that 60-cent range where we had seen our very equal candle bodies. So nice move there. We've got that 4 hour looking just a little bit toppy, I would say, with it remaining green, and your very solid money flow here with your True 7 remaining green, though, to look for some continued sideways, some little bit sideways movement under that 62 cents before we see that strong push to the upside, unless you see crazy money flow coming in here. We've got the Dusty Hunt saying good morning, awesome crew. We got Archbit in the chat saying hello world, dropping a peace sign and alien head. Good morning to you. The Dusty Hunt, are we long or short? I tried the chart before I came in here. I am nothing for the morning so far. I was waiting for a little bit of a bouncing point. It looks like we're trying to remain to the top side of our CME gap here. I will probably take a long and Alexo Cryptos during Alexo Crypto stream if we can continue to remain with some green buying volume. You did see the pre-market seeing a little bit of some sell-off though, so definitely something to keep your eye on. We do have inflation data that is coming out at 8:30 as well, so could be a little bit of some sideways movements until we get that inflation and CPI data. And then we will kind of see if markets see that as a positive or a negative. You do have some of that inflation data looking overwhelmingly positive on the non-core inflation data. So if we do see that be a little bit under forecast, look for that move to the upside. We had Merle requested as my alt pick for the day, says Archbit. I haven't heard of that one before, so we can definitely take a look at that one. Have you got a certain exchange you would like me to look at that on? I can definitely do that on the exchange that you're using. That way you get the best data for you. Let's take a look at this hourly. As you can kind of see here, you've got your MACD residing below our indicator line here, looking for some light curvature here. So trying to get back above this 62.723 for ADA as well as we cool off these oscillators here. Look for another potential rejection off of that 62.723. Find some strong support back here down where we see our very equal candle bodies at about 61.5 cents before we get that strong move back to the upside. As you can see, this hourly has started to print a red candle here. Our volume has switched to some light selling volume. Our true 7 is very close to that point where we would start clipping. That would be that strong move back to the upside for that daily. We do have the 15-minute also looking like it's a little bit toppy here. So seeing a little bit of some cool off here on these oscillators as we wait for some money flow to come back in would be something to watch for. We're starting to print some light green candles on our histogram, getting a bit of some rollover here on the prime oscillator as well, but it is looking light red. We've got very, very, very light selling volume in this range. So just waiting for that money flow to really come back in with some strength here. You do have looking like that 700 is a strong support area on our moving averages. If I'm not mistaken, that's my 700. Let me get a look at that. We got, yep, that's the 700 there as that light pink line. So looking to maintain that 700 moving average if we come back down and reject off of 62.723 there. Let's take a look at XRP. That one was requested as well. It got a strong move to the upside, but it has been seeing a little bit of some sell-off. Looks quite similar to Bitcoin in that aspect, trying to maintain some key levels right now. Let's hop into that 4-hour. We got that nice, strong, equal candle bodies off of this level I talked about. $1.99, where we saw some nice movement in the past. We are right to the bottom side of an old fair value gap here. Let me zoom it on out so you can see that a little bit better. It's pulled from all the way back here, and we've got a lot of play off of the bottom side of our fair value gap here. We got some nice wick in action off of the bottom. We got some nice wick in action off of the bottom. Very equal candle bodies off of the bottom here. So this is a strong area to try to turn into some support here. You did get that nice bounce off of 199 here. Let's get that deleted so it's no longer in the way. If we do reject off of the bottom side of this fair value gap here, you do have that 50% fib line on our retracement at $1.95. We get a lot of play underneath that. So to turn that into some support before we really get back into our fair value gap would be something to watch for, as you do see quite a bit of selling pressure inside this fair value gap for now. You do see that prime oscillator sitting very green as we're getting that light curvature sideways and that sideways movement on our true 7 there. You've got plenty of buying volume coming in here on the 4-hour, waiting for that MACD to cross our 0 line, but it has slowed up a bit here on the histograms, and we're getting a little bit of some sideways movement here. So looking for a bit of a cool off on our shorter term time frames or some strong money flow to come in. You do see that 1 hour looking very similar to some of these other alts we've taken a look at. Got your prime oscillator sitting very red here, waiting on the true 7 to clip out on the hourly, as you've got plenty of buying volume in this range. So looking for some strong support down below these lows here as we sweep a little bit of liquidity before we push back up with some strength. You've got that 195 being a very strong area to see some bouncing from. You see this as a fair value gap on a shorter term time frame, so that's right about in line with the midline of that as well. Zoom this on into that 15-minute, see what the morning's bringing our way. And once again, 15-minute looking a little bit toppy here, but not overwhelmingly toppy for XRP. XRP has been getting some nice movements to the upside, and it also got some positive news the other day where it's got a 2x leverage ETF that just came out. Announced that in the Piper Academy Discord. If you are not a member, you definitely should be. Let me drop that link in the chat for you, because we drop some fire there every day. All the news you need. We got trade setups in our premium Discord, but come join the free section and see what you're missing out on there, because we do quite a bit there as well. Weekly memberships, and next Tuesday I'll be starting a back to basics class where both beginners and some experienced traders could benefit from the knowledge of. Definitely going to be starting out with psychology of trading for that first Discord session. That will be Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So hope to see you there. I see Crypto Billy in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great morning. It's extra early for you. I didn't know you woke up this early there. Let me drop those Billy Goat Tail emojis in the chat for you. Drop them if you got them. We will be heading over to his morning motivational video after this. And go ahead, drop those Piper Academy graduation caps when you get there. We've got XRP looking for some continued upside on the 15-minute, but we are getting some light sideways movement here on the MACD. You kind of have to scroll it out so you can get the full picture. Moving quite sideways with that indicator line there. Got your prime oscillator sitting a little green, as we do see our selling volume decreasing quite a bit. Waiting for that true 7 to really clip out all over again. It's clipped out once, twice, and a third time. We've got that very strong resistance above us at $2.01. That's that fair value gap we've talked about for quite a while on XRP. That's where I'd look back down at 195 unless you see some crazy money flow coming into the markets this morning to kind of counteract some of the selling pressure we've seen since last night. All right, let's take a look at Merle on which chart did he say? Bybit. All right, let's find Merle. Got Merle on Bybit. Scrolled on down. There we go. Spot or perpetual? It looks like that. We'll take a look at it on perpetual. There we go. Let's zoom this on out. See what we're looking at for a higher term time frame there. Looking a little bit battered down. You know, the alt market has been quite battered down. Dang, has been in quite a selling trend here, but it did get a nice move to the upside. Let's get a little bit of a range here. Gonna be from the tops up here to the bottom down there. See where we're residing. We've got a nice rejection off of that 236 for the morning. Looking like from the other day, looking for a potential upswing, as we do see some slowdown on that volume, being that selling volume, and our money flow looking to head back up. Got a divergence stacked up here. Your prime oscillator switching from red to light red here. Your true 7 clipped out. Got a reversal signal and a peak seeker up here when we rejected off of that 236. So waiting for some money flow to come in here. We got Justin Eubanks in the chat saying, good morning, alumni. Ernie says Discord link not working. Let me get that fixed there. We got Piper Academy. Let's send invite people. Got copy the link. All right, let's see if this one works. Oh, nope. I guess it won't work because I'm in streamer mode right now. So I'll have to get out of streamer mode real quick. There we go. I don't know if Jay Violet's link worked, but let's see if this one works. Oh, Ernie says thanks. Got it. Well, I will also drop this one and update my link because that's should be working. I guess that's an old link there. There we go. Let me get mine updated as well. All right. Glad you got that, Ernie. We've got a lot going on in the Discord in both the free section and our paid section, but that free section is a nice place to hang out. We dropped a lot of alpha in there yesterday when all of the news was coming out. So definitely something to watch for. We do a weekly Discord session with all of our members as well. So hope to see you there. We've got our prime oscillator looking a little bit bottomy here on this 1 hour, looking like you might need to see a little bit more cool off. So let's look left to look right. We've got some very equal lows from back here at about 0.7839. Let's get a horizontal ray drawn out. Here we go. Very equal lows. 0.7839 would be a bit of a bouncing point to watch for. It does sweep below all of these bottoms here, kind of clears out some of the liquidity. We got Crypto Billy saying, why are we early today? Well, so my work schedule got changed on me very last minute. They are sending me an hour out of town to do work, so I have to go drive an hour before I get to work. So now I gotta leave a whole hour earlier. So I had to adjust my schedule to that. It was sprung on me super last minute. So something nice. I get paid to drive an hour in the morning. So that kind of makes it a little bit better. Definitely made that when I got that news yesterday, what definitely made me a little more happy about the hour drive. I'm not so happy about it on the way home though, because traffic sucks at 5:30 going from a bigger city driving all the way back home. So that's the part I don't like. But super early in the morning, I don't mind it because there's like no traffic on the road at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I can get there pretty fast. But it makes me remember why I moved from Tulsa, Oklahoma, because traffic there sucked too. I'm ready to not be dealing with it. So as soon as they give me the opportunity to not be working an hour outside of town, I'm going to hop on it as soon as I can. So we also see our prime oscillator here on the 15-minute, getting a little bit of some curvature to the downside, waiting on our money flow to kind of swoop back into the positive here. Got that prime oscillator remaining very green as it is getting that curvature. You did see a little bit of a spike in some selling volume. So it looks like they're trying to sweep that bottom side liquidity before you really get that pushback up. You've got your MACD line and your indicator line moving a little bit sideways here. But if you can see that money flow coming back in here on that shorter term time frame, let's zoom that on in, see what the 5-minute. Yep, so 5-minute looking like you've got some continued downside pressure, but that volume is starting to switch back to the green here. So potential for a little bit of some cool off here on those very short-term time frames to drive us back down, sweep the liquidity that's residing below this range before we really see that pushback up. You have plenty of resistance to the top side of us. Looking for that first area to be very in line with all of these highs from here and here. Let me get that horizontal ray drawn out there. Going to be about 8901 for that top side target after we sweep this bottom side liquidity there. That's a Merle for you. I've got time for one more alt request. So next alt request requested gets their alt look at. So right now I'm gonna take a look at Ethereum because it's been doing quite well. It got a nice play off of our sell wall here. We had talked about this being a potential selling area. We did try to maintain the top side of it. You got that nice bounce off the midline of our sell wall, pushed back up, rejected off of our 700 moving average before we really dragged back down, try to maintain the top side of this wick from back here before we really dropped back below it. We are looking like we're rejecting off of it for the morning, looking to try to maintain some of the highs from back here. We've got some nice bouncing areas at $1,582 to really look for on Ethereum. We need 6 more likes, Piper fam, says Jesse Gluck. I appreciate you, Jesse. Always pushing for that like button to be hit. It's a free way to support the channel, and it definitely helps us in the algorithm. So I appreciate you for hitting that like button, and if you've enjoyed some of the content, then go ahead, hit that like button. Or if you didn't like it, hit the dislike button, because that also helps things out. Engagement is engagement. You do have this 1 hour looking like it has a little bit more room to cool off for Ethereum. Look back kind of at the lows of this range. We've got some nice points at about 1,562 to really watch for some bouncing. We got some nice wicks and candle bodies coming off of that area. That'd be that next area I would look for to the downside to potentially see a bounce for in the short term. This 1 hour does look like it needs to cool off just a little bit more. You do have some nice selling on money flow, but it is getting some curvature back to the upside. Your prime oscillator getting some light curvature as well. Got plenty of buying volume. So doing some battle between the bears and the bulls below the sell wall we had really talked about. As soon as we got back above it, we really saw all of that selling pressure stepping in. What's for dinner, says says Jesse Gluck to Jay Violet? Chicken thighs. Well, that sounds like a good dinner there. Doesn't sound as good as those ribs you ate yesterday, though. So I definitely like I like beef over chicken, which is definitely not what you would think to hear from someone like me. Yes, I went with the whole hypocrisy there. I'm brown, but I like beef more than chicken. Nobody asked for an alt. Thanks, Jesse, for dropping Chainlink. Yeah, definitely leave a like, folks. Spread the good vibes. I appreciate that, Archbit. Let's zoom Chainlink out to a higher term time frame here and see what we're looking at there. Looking like we're rejecting off of our 800 moving average there. We definitely saw that selling pressure stepping on in. As we hit that, you do see our MACD line and our prime oscillator looking quite similar to the rest of the market. We clipped out here looking for that volume to kind of switch from that selling volume to some buying volume in this range, as our MACD is set at a point to cross our indicator line after a little more cool off. Let's zoom that on into the hourly, see what the day is bringing our way here. Looking like the day is seeing a little cool off as well. Maybe a band-aid in the chat. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Let's see what these bottom levels, we've got $11.82, also being quite in line with the midline of this giant candle here. Let's see from wick bottom to wick top. Looking like the golden pocket resides at that 1188. That's that key level I've really talked about there. So kind of some confirmation of that strong support in that range. Definitely looking for a little more cool off, as you do see our volume slowing down just a bit on the buying volume, waiting for this true 7 to clip out on that hourly before we really get that strong push to the upside to see us get that nice strong bounce off of 1182. Let's see what the fibs are in this local range. Looks like the 382 of the local range is also in line with that $11.82. So seeing a 382 bounce there would be something nice to see. You got time for one more alt theta? If so, I saw SWE requested by Crypto Billy. So I'm going to take a quick look at SWE, see what the day and the morning might be bringing our way. And then I'm going to wind the show on down because it's about time for me to head to work. I got an hour drive ahead of me. We got SWE seeing a little bit more selling pressure than the rest of the market. It was sitting in the red when other things were sitting in the green here. So let's see what we're looking at there. Definitely looking like it has a stronger potential for that MACD cross to the upside. Prime oscillator getting that strong curvature as it's seeing very, very low selling volume in this range. Looking for that pushback up to the upside and a switch to the green here. Printing smaller red candles on these histograms than we did on some other projects here. SWE has been exploding to the upside a lot more strongly than some of these other alt projects. So watch for that if we do see those strong moves to the upside. Seeing a little bit of a switch from green buying volume in this range to some light selling volume as we wait on this true 7 to really clip. The prime oscillator is a lot lower here on SWE than it is on the rest of the market. Getting some slight curvature here on that MACD line as well. Printing very equal candles here on our histogram. They're just light red. So waiting for that money flow to really come back in on that daily term time frame, on that hourly time frame to push us back up. You do see that 15-minute needing a little bit more cool off in this range, getting a little bit of a bounce off of that indicator line, starting to print some light green candles on our histogram as our prime oscillator is in that light red here, waiting for that true 7 to clip and our volume to switch back over to some buying volume. Would look at the midline of these very explosive candles here, kind of in line with the highs from over here to maintain as our bottoming point. It's about $2.10 there. It's a very key level to kind of watch for if it does get battered down a little bit further than that. You've got a nice level down here at about $2.02 to kind of watch for. I see username in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great morning so far. I know it's extra early for me, so it's probably extra early for you. Got Froth Dog Billionaire saying, grateful Piper Otter fam. I appreciate all of you for showing up to the new time frame. I will let you know if the schedule gets back to the normal schedule. I'm waiting to hear when I can get back into a semi truck. So that's kind of what I've been waiting for. Until then, I got to run a giant off-road truck an hour away from me. So I appreciate every single one of you tuning in. Make sure to tune in to the rest of the shows on the Piper Academy. We've got Morning Market Report with Piper Academy at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The breakdown of all the data you hear every single morning, which today is going to be inflation data that's coming out at 8:32. So make sure to trade safe this morning. If you're in a trade, make sure to watch that as we approach that time frame. Could see quite a bit of volatility. We've got trading with OC at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a great place to learn about trading. He's been doing an amazing job. If you haven't seen those, go ahead, rewatch some of those, because he started out with naked charts, and then he did a naked charts part 2. You know, it's a great place to get a refresher course if you need that, or learn all over again if you need that. You know, it never hurts to kind of get that refresher, which we'll also be doing on Tuesdays in our Discord with it Back to Basics at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We've also got that Markets After Dark at 11 p.m. Eastern Time with Lunar Beaches Crypto. So if you haven't been tuning into that one, go ahead, give it a little rewatch after this, after you hit that thumbs up button for the morning motivational video that Crypto Billy comes out with every morning. Great way to start the day. And I will see y'all tomorrow morning. Everyone, make sure to wake up, because today's going to be a volatile day, but it's going to be a good day.